Muriel Zimbabwe, where is he? The mystery of Chiwenga's secret trip and what it means for May 18th. Muriel Zimbabwe, welcome back. Pamzinda wevanhu kubva kuvanhu. Let me ask you a simple question. Where is the vice president of Zimbabwe? Not a small official, not a junior minister, the vice president, the second most powerful person in the Republic of Zimbabwe, the man who planned in November 2017, the man who every diplomat, every general, every senator, every wavering MP is watching right now as the country counts down to May 18th. Nobody knows where he is. The government will not say. The official line is he is on assignment. No details, no location, no timeline, no press release, just assignment. For a sitting vice president, 10 days before the most consequential parliamentary session in Zimbabwe's modern history. Family, that mystery is itself a statement. And today we are going to unpack every layer of what Chiwenga's disappearance means, where he might be, why it matters, and what his return this weekend will signal to every faction watching this crisis unfold. Now, let us establish what we actually know versus what is being speculated. What we know, Chiwenga has not been seen publicly for several days. The government has refused to disclose his location beyond the word assignment. He is expected to return to Harare this weekend, just before May 18th. What is being speculated? Two destinations are circulating. Singapore was mentioned in earlier reports. India is now being discussed in diplomatic circles. Mnangagwa and Chiwenga are already moving on parallel diplomatic and economic tracks, each showcasing power at home while testing their credibility abroad. If it is India, that is significant. India is a major emerging power with deep interest in Zimbabwe's mineral sector. India has also historically maintained relationships with multiple Zimbabwean political figures simultaneously, hedging its bets. A vice president building international relationships with New Delhi, presenting himself as a credible future leader to one of the world's largest economies, is not just taking a trip. He is building a presidential portfolio. Muriev. And crucially, Chiwenga was conspicuously absent from the reception committee when Ramaphosa visited. The two Vice President Chiwenga and Mohadi were nowhere to be seen when the South African president was welcomed. So, Chiwenga refused to welcome Ramaphosa, then skipped the Politburo, then disappeared entirely on a secret trip, 3 consecutive public absences, each one at a moment when his presence would have required him to perform unit with Mnangagwa. Each one a deliberate, visible, calculated withdrawal of that performance. The man is making statement with every absence. And now, the biggest absence of all. Muriev, Zimbabwe. Here is the angle that most coverage is completely missing, and it changes the entire framing of Chiwenga's secret trip. Ramaphosa reportedly urged Mnangagwa to abandon the constitutional amendment, offering in return to secure him guarantees of safety and immunity from his would-be successor, who under the current ZANU-PF hierarchy would be Chiwenga. Listen to that again, carefully. Ramaphosa came to pre-Cab Farm, and the deal reportedly on the table was drop Cab 3, and in return, we will guarantee you safety and immunity when Chiwenga succeeds you. Safety and immunity from Chiwenga, the man who allegedly tried to poison. The man Mnangagwa allegedly tried to poison. The man whose wife you demoted from military intelligence. The men whose allies you have been systematically removing from the security establishment. The men who submitted a dossier naming your closest business associates for corruption and was accused of treason for doing it. Mnangagwa is being asked to trust that if he steps back from Cab 3, Chiwenga will not come after him. That the successor he has spent years trying to prevent from taking power will honor a guarantee of immunity brokered by Ramaphosa. Oh, Zimbabwe. And Chiwenga's secret trip happening right now at this exact moment may be connected to exactly that negotiation, because any immunity guarantee requires the consent of both parties. Ramaphosa cannot offer Mnangagwa safety from Chiwenga without Chiwenga agreeing to provide it. And that agreement, if it is being negotiated somewhere, quietly, privately, on a secret trip that the government will only describe as assignment. Mrezimbabwe chinzwa ibunzwe mimi. While Chiwenga is away, the political landscape around him is shifting dramatically. The broadcast that brought us today's story makes a claim that would have sounded extraordinary 2 months ago, but sounds entirely plausible today. Chiwenga is described as the most sought-after person in the region right now. Diplomats reaching out, regional presidents making contact, and domestically, political figures previously aligned with opposition are beginning to signal support for a potential Chiwenga president. Specifically, figures associated with Job Scala's movement are reportedly among those signaling. Job Scala, who spent almost 2 years in pre-trial detention without bail, who became a symbol of political persecution under Mnangagwa's government, his political associates are apparently now considering a Chiwenga alignment. Think about what that means. People who were imprisoned by the system Chiwenga helped build in 2017 are now looking at Chiwenga as a path forward. That is not an endorsement of history. That is a calculation about the present moment. A calculation that says whoever stops CAB 3, whoever opens the door to genuine constitutional governance, that is the person we work with, regardless of complicated histories. And that calculation is spreading. Chiwenga's perceived closeness to the military, stemming from his days as commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, who spearheaded the 2017 removal of Mugabe, gives his words a weight that few others possesses. Weight, Huremu. In Zimbabwe right now, Chiwenga's weight is felt even in his absence. Maybe especially in his absence, because when the most consequential figure in a crisis disappears, everyone watches for his return. Everyone wonders what he is doing. Everyone waits to see what he brings back with him. Now, family, before we close, let us talk about the domestic context that makes Chiwenga's return so anticipated beyond just the political drama. The broadcast that gave us this news highlights something that should make every Zimbabwean angry. President Mnangagwa recently commissioned, opened with fanfare, invited cameras, gave speeches, a hospital block, presented it as a development achievement of the Second Republic. The block was built over 50 years ago by the colonial government. Family, the most recent major hospital infrastructure being celebrated by the current administration was built before independence, before 1980, before any of us were born. The Second Republic is opening Rhodesian buildings and calling it Vision 2030. This is the governance failure that makes the political crisis personal for ordinary Zimbabweans. Not the Politburo drama, not the military covenants, not even CAB 3 in the abstract. The fact that the country is going backwards, that the infrastructure being celebrated today was built by a government that this one replaced 46 years ago. That the hospitals Zimbabweans are crossing borders into Zambia, into Botswana, into South Africa to access were supposed to have been improved, expanded, modernized in almost 5 decades of independence. And the men disappearing on secret trips right now, the men the diplomats are calling, the men the opposition is reconsidering, the men the war veterans are standing behind, is being positioned as the answer to that failure. Whether he can actually deliver something different is a different question. It's a different question Zimbabwe has not yet had the chance to answer. But the desperation for something different, anything different, is real, and it is growing. Zimbabwe, Chiwenga is coming back this weekend, and his return, whatever form it takes, will be read like a document. Every detail will matter. Does he go straight to State House? Does he appear at a public event? Does he give any statement? Does he show up for the parliamentary session on May 18th? or does he absent himself again? The empty chair becoming a vote in itself. If the pro 2030 faction is having sleepless nights, it is because they know that in Zimbabwe, the distance between a sermon and a correction is often perilously short. Perilously short. And right now, the distance between Chiwenga's secret trip and May 18th is also perilously short. 10 days. Zawa 9. One weekend, one return flight, and whatever he brings back with him, whether it is a negotiated immunity agreement, an international mandate, a medical clearance, or simply the resolve of a man who has made his final decision about what he is prepared to do, Zimbabwe will feel it the moment he lands. The mystery is almost over, Zimbabwe. Nasi weekend, the secret trip is ending, and the most anticipated return in Zimbabwean political history since Mnangagwa flew home from South Africa in November 2017 is about to happen. Watch the airport, watch the first image, watch who meets him, watch the body language, because in Zimbabwe right now, every arrival tells a story. Drop your thoughts, Zimbabwe. Where do you think Chiwenga has been, and what do you think he brings back with him this weekend? This is your boy pano pamuzinda wevanhu. Muri kutiona muri kupi? Tiudzei kwamuri kutiona muri. We'll be there in the comment section with everybody. Your boy is out, fearless, always pro-democracy, forever. Peace.